The very first step in designing the building was to look at its heart, the seating bowl. We looked at forms that the stadium bowl could be. Where are all the seats? How are they arranged? How much space do we give people? What quality of view do we set?
Using state-of-the-art technology, Parrish calculates the seating arrangements in the concrete bowl to make the most efficient use of materials and space, and above all, to ensure that spectators will enjoy watching the event. Each seat will be as close to the action as possible, with no seat more than 466 feet from the field.
I think people are going to find very unusual for a building this size is the sheer intimacy that they're going to experience when they're inside the bowl and they're watching events. We work really hard to generate that atmosphere and that excitement.
As soon as you enter, you feel very close to the athletes. Imagine you're an athlete standing in the arena, finding yourself so close to the spectators, you feel like an actor. Then you feel more motivated.
With the design phase complete, the work on the concrete bowl can finally begin. By May 2004, construction is underway. But it doesn't get far before an unexpected catastrophe strikes. On May 23, 2004, at Paris's Charles de Gaulle Airport, the daring new Terminal 2E suddenly collapses with no warning, just 1 year after its opening. First, 2 cracks appear inside the terminal wall. Then, a piece of concrete falls off. Just minutes later, the ceiling crashes to the ground. It kills 4 travelers. By coincidence, 2 of them Chinese. The fatal collapse shocks the engineering profession, but it hits home even harder in Beijing. The terminal roof had a similar design to the bird's nest, without interior supports. The tragedy hangs over the heads of the bird's nest team, and they worry about how this will affect their building.
It was a difficult time for all of us, and we had, to prove in many expert panel meetings that our building is safe, design meets all the standards.
It's beginning to learn a lot.
Their worst fears are realized. China suspends all work on the bird's nest. Beijing's officials re-examine the safety of the bird's nest design.
就是法国机场那个事件呢，对我们这项目呢，也敲了。
The French airport incident was a wake-up call for us. We organized experts to conduct verification. We did some real testing.
项目呢再进行这个。
The retractable roof, amounting to 1/8 of the cost, is put under the most intense scrutiny. As the team awaits the result of the review, the weeks turn into months. With a tight construction schedule, any delays could be disastrous.
I was anxious because if we failed to reach this particular milestone on time, then it was likely that the Olympic Games would have to be postponed. For us, this would be a horrifying scenario.
After 5 long months, the officials finally give the go-ahead to continue the work, but reduce the number of seats and cancel the original retractable roof design, concerned about costs as well as safety. Working with the officials, the architects redesign the stadium. They come up with an open-air design that retains the shape and style of the original. It makes the stadium cheaper and safer, but also more eco-friendly, since it will require less steel.
We think our project is very safe. Without the retractable roof, the stadium will be easier to maintain. So I think our new design is better than the original plan.
They're back on track, but time is not on their side. The Bird's Nest team must finish the bowl before the winter hits, or the concrete will freeze. Henry Zhang of the National Stadium wastes no time and assembles thousands of workers. The construction accelerates.
We put in 7,000 people working around the clock in 3 shifts a day.
The crew must force the concrete to defy gravity. It needs to be pumped up from the bottom of the forms through reinforced steel beams which strengthen the concrete. But the thick wires are slowing them down, and they still have 4 floors left to go. With less than 6 months before winter, hundreds of tons of concrete must be poured at the site.
And then it went so quickly, like every week they made 1 floor.
By November 15, 2005, in just 5 months, the bowl of the bird's nest is complete. Just in time before winter's deep freeze.
This is where in Poland, so I remember well. We feel, oh, we can start the second part. So we can see the well.
Just 2 years after the first ground was broken, the concrete bowl is finally ready for its daring outer facade.
We're a big gypsy family, and family is everything. We do not want our culture changed.
In the gypsy culture, every woman is like
Watch the lamp. I hate my life.
My granddaughter is going to be a great healer.
She knows you have the gypsies.
I want to be the gypsy lady. I want to be an actress.
Forget about it.
American Gypsies. New episodes Tuesdays at 9 on the National Geographic Channel.
Attention accident victims.
If you were seriously injured in an auto accident in the last 3 years, even if it was your fault, you may be entitled to money you don't even know about.
The Goldwater Law Firm helps victims of car, truck, van, and SUV manufacturing safety defects, including tire blowouts, roof crush, gas tank explosions, and seatbelt and airbag failures. Call the Goldwater Law Firm at
Separating junk from gems.
This is the guy that killed Alexander Hamilton.
The reward, $10,000.
Oh my God.
Plus, a spot at the National Geographic Museum.
The object that most belongs in a museum is
America's Lost Treasures. New episodes Wednesdays at 10 on National Geographic. For the Olympic Stadium team, the most challenging part of the construction is about to begin. Building the steel structure that makes it the bird's nest. October 28th, 2005. The first steel pillar is ready to be hoisted into place. Before the team could get to this point, engineers had to first solve a fundamental construction riddle: how to weave 42,000 tons of steel into the shape of a bird's nest. Arab Sports specializes in designing sports venues, but they've never made anything quite like this one.
Right from the start, we were thinking, well, how do we build this? How do we create these elements?
The architect's plan calls for massive beams that twist and turn around the 984-foot wide stadium. It needs to look random to create the bird's nest illusion. But at the same time, the beams have to support each other and carry the heavy loads safely so that this artistic vision can stand on its own. The first set of beams is on the outside. 24 pillars in the form of trusses encircling the concrete bowl. They serve as the bones of the structure. Just like a human skeleton, this backbone keeps the building from falling down. But in the case of the bird's nest, the skeleton is on the outside and is also the building's facade.
You can take as an example, you can take old cathedrals which are made out of stone. There, the outside, the inside, the structure, the space is one unit, so to speak. There is something of that we call the natural stadium. It gives you a much more powerful idea of space.
A second set of beams fills in the empty spaces between the beams in the first set, like the tendons in a human body that hold the bones of the skeleton together. They link all the beams to form a braided structure.
It's like 24 people holding hands, 48 arms linked together.
A third set of beams supports the stairways that connect the multiple levels and provides a frame for the roof membrane covering. When seen from the sky, the interlocking beams give the stadium its bird's nest illusion.
It's a brilliant description. The impact that it has when you see it is one of very organized chaos. It's really rather delightful.
But this revolutionary design places unusual demands on the beams. The beams must physically twist and curve as it wraps around the stadium. Before construction can begin, the team must make sure the steel is strong enough to bear the load, especially around the curved edges, where it has the most twist.
They climb to the top of the building, and then they change direction. It's almost a right angle. And then they cross the stadium, and then curve back down again.
That's over 984 feet from one end to the other, wrapped around with the same side up at all times. Once again, the team will have to try something new. Engineer a special steel, strong enough to handle the stress of the curves, yet flexible enough to withstand earthquakes. The Bird's Nest team revisits the seismic tests to refine their steel design. How strong the steel needs to be, how thick the plates, how big the welds. Arab structural engineer Michael Kwok creates computer models to study how severe shaking might distress the structure.
This is effectively simulating the worst event that happened in Beijing.
The team creates a brand new steel for the Bird's Nest, called Q460, never before used in China. The newly engineered steel will stand up to Beijing's earthquakes.
It is designed specifically for the codes for Beijing. The Bird's Nest can wobble quite happily, and the flexibility of the steel will allow that to happen without it damaging the structure. We never know just how strong an earthquake's going to be, and at the moment, we generally don't know when they're going to arrive. If there is an earthquake, let's hope the building behaves very well.
But for the construction crew, the challenges are just beginning. They still have to build it. The task will be more complex than anything they've ever attempted.
There are several thousand components to the Bird's Nest structure, of which only 2 are the same. All the others are different. We noticed there wasn't a single straight beam.
And the Pleasure-Pedic pillow for 8 hours. Look how the traditional pillows are flattened. And flat pillows mean no support, stiff necks, aches, and pains. But not the Pleasure-Pedic pillow. Night after night, it will retain its shape, cradling you in comfort for a restful night's sleep.
Well, using the Pleasure-Pedic pillow, I notice I don't toss and turn as much. But I like if you want to put it fresh. Never have a stiff neck. It's a great pillow.
Take your Pleasure-Pedic pillow with you for added lower back support while you're driving, working at your desk, or simply watching TV. Don't spend hundreds of dollars on pillows that offer no support. Now you can experience your own restful night's sleep on the amazing luxury of the Pleasure-Pedic pillow. For only $19.95, you'll receive a standard-sized Pleasure-Pedic pillow, and we'll even send you a custom form-fit pillowcase for free. If you call right now, you'll also receive our 60-night guarantee. If you're not fully satisfied after 60 nights, simply return it for a full refund. So what have you got to lose? Except a peaceful night's sleep. Call now.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just giving me names. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way. And I can't thank them enough.
If you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-368-0342. 800-368-0342.
Wednesday.
We're here in one of the most historic cities in America.
And that means lots of oldies but goodies coming our way, right here in Philadelphia.
This is the gun we believe that killed Alexander Hamilton.
Wow. The hardest proof for the $1 bill. Now, why do you call it a hospital bullet? It's what they gave you to bite on as they cut your leg off.
It's a flag that came from Lincoln's coffin.
Which one will be named one of America's lost treasures? New episode Wednesday at 10 on National Geographic. Fall 2007. Beijing's National Stadium is in its final push to the finish line. The team must complete the last bit of construction, skimming the roof. Just as birds fill in the spaces in their nests, workers will have to fill the spaces between the beams of the bird's nest stadium with a transparent membrane called ETFE. For the workers doing the installing, it's challenging. The seemingly random pattern of beams creates spaces that are irregular, with lots of different shapes and sizes. And workers must fit them the old-fashioned way, by hand. They must be careful, as they could easily slide off the curved edges, and they can't be afraid of heights. This membrane provides rain and wind protection. It also saves energy. Sunshine filters through the roof to light the building. The construction is on track, but a bigger problem is on people's minds. The building boom is coming at a price. Over 100 new cars hit the road every day, and traffic is often at a standstill. Olympic officials are concerned about the air quality in Beijing and wonder how it might affect athletes' performances in an open arena. The city must do everything it can to combat the pollution, so Beijing spends $12 billion to move industrial polluters, plant hundreds of trees, and reroute traffic. With the world watching, Beijing's mandate for a Green Olympics is put to the test. The bird's nest must also pass its real-world trials. From its network of green systems, like the geothermal heating and rainwater capture system to feed the grass on the field, to its state-of-the-art electronics to broadcast the action around the world, and the cutting-edge lighting system with different settings for different occasions. The architects and engineers must make sure each functions in sync and see the stadium systems come together. In April 2007, architects Herzog and Demeron return once again to the bird's nest to check on its progress. Their vision now stands before them in steel and concrete.
This is really my impression that this is so much more perfect and so much more elegant. The silver, the black, and this more brown Chinese red.
The sight of the real thing surprised them. I saw his astonishment when he set eyes on it.
经过当局后，更能真的真实的建造起来的那种定义。
I wasn't satisfied with the welded seams and the smoothness of the steel structure.
它那种平滑度啊，我都觉得还没达到我的要求呢。
I'd found many faults, but he brushed them aside as trivialities. Such a great building has been built in China, with Chinese technology, Chinese products, and Chinese workers. I feel really proud.
The most amazing thing is that it was really realized exactly how we wanted. So if you don't like it, it's because we messed it up.
The stadium will become part of the memory of the Olympic in Beijing in China. We say New Beijing, New Olympic. I think Bird's Nest could become this symbol.
I think when the building comes to life, everyone involved will be elated. Personally, I think this is a good building. I like it as I like my own child. To be part of it, I feel proud and very honored.
For Li Xinggang, it's been a long 6 years of his life.
I worked for this project. I was 33 years old to 39 years old. I worked from a young man to a middle-aged man for this project.
After 6 years of grueling schedules and hundreds of thousands of man-hours, 42,000 tons of concrete and steel are designed, engineered, assembled, and welded into place.
The opening day, I think I will be inside the stadium together with all the people. Yeah, that will be an exciting night.
And the Bird's Nest is ready for its final debut. This is the National Geographic Channel.
This bridge has the longest span of any cable-stayed bridge in the world.